Coaches Show is brought to you by Chris Lindahl Real Estate and by Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Minnesota. With Lindsay Whalen and Ben Johnson. Now, it's the Gopher Coaches Show.
Welcome into the Gopher Coaches Show. I'm Pierre Nugent, joined as always by K-Fans Justin Gard. With us today, the head coach of Gopher men's basketball, Ben Johnson. Ben, welcome in. Your team has battled hard this past week, but has come up short against a pair of Big Ten rivals. What's your biggest takeaway from how your team played in these past couple of games?
One of the big takeaways is I really liked our fight. You know, I thought our guys on both sides of the ball did a great job of competing, putting ourselves in position at the end of the game to have a chance to win, which as a coach, that's the ultimate goal is, you know, you just want to put yourself in position to get a win. And now we just got to come together and in those last minute, 2-minute stretches, eliminate kind of those lapses, probably rebound the ball a little bit better and just find ways to close the gap to get a huge win.
Yeah, the final 2 minutes of Wisconsin, I think, would fit that bill. You battled back in that second half, down 9 a couple of different times, tie it up twice. So what stood out as you went back and looked at those final couple of minutes against the Badgers?
Yeah, I think we did a lot of really good things. That's the first thing that stood out. I mean, you know, held Davis to 10 points with about 2 minutes to go in the game. Was a really phenomenal job by each guy that guarded him. That was a huge key for us. And then, you know, again, we got to do a little bit better job rebounding the ball collectively as a unit. It's not just on one guy. And then, you know, I thought we had a great look with about 55 seconds left to go to put us within one. You know, we make that shot probably 9 times out of 10. And obviously the thought with that is if you go for a quick 2, you're guaranteed to get a chance to have the ball back with a chance to win it on the road. So more than anything, I thought there was a lot of good things that we took from it. And now we just got to shore up some of the details and find a way to win those close ones.
And Ben, over the last couple of weeks, I know, you know, from the moment you've woken up to the time you went to bed at night, I'm sure you heard the question, when's Eric Curry coming back? Well, I mean, we got our answer just the other night after missing the last 3 games with an ankle injury, 8 points, 6 rebounds, and 34 minutes of work. How did he look to you battling back from injury?
No, Eric looked great, you know, for a guy that honestly had not practiced and had just done like some limited conditioning work with more rehab type stuff. I thought he did a great job gutting it out. To play those minutes was probably more than I had anticipated. Credit to him. And I think everybody sees, our team included, you know, how valuable he is for our program. Both sides of the ball, but especially defensively, just his ability to kind of anchor our defense, to bring that physicality, to be able to defend one-on-one in the post, to be able to rebound. You know, he's a piece that moving forward, we got to make sure stays healthy because a healthy Eric is good for Minnesota basketball.
It's been a wild couple of weeks since we last chatted, Ben. You had the Rutgers game where you didn't know how many players were going to be available. Obviously, Eric Curry was out. Jamison was out. Luke Lowy is running IVs before the game. The one constant in all of this is Peyton Willis has just been Mr. Reliable for you. And I remember him his first time around here, what a player he was. Wasn't healthy back then, has been healthy this year. And what type of lift has he provided for you through all the ups and downs with everybody else?
Yeah, Peyton's been great. He's just been that steady, calming influence. His leadership off the court, on the court, just how he conducts himself on a day-to-day basis. You know, his leadership in game with huddling guys, with in timeout, game adjustments, what he sees, and he's delivered. I think that's the biggest thing is he's played really well, and it's because he puts in the time. I mean, that's the kid that, you know, he's one of the first guys in the gym on any given day, one of the last guys to leave. Takes a lot of pride in his work and what he shows on the floor, and it's fun to see it pay out, you know, to see a guy who's put in the time have the success he's had. And just like Eric, you know, this team needs a healthy, productive, confident Peyton for the month of February and March.
Ben, after the Ohio State game, Jamison Battle came to the podium. I was there after the game, and he vowed to be better on the glass for your team, and he certainly was against Wisconsin. 10 rebounds on the evening, a double-double, in fact, to go along with 14 points. But is there another level to his game that you're hoping to see as the season progresses?
Yeah, I think so. I think, you know, Jamison has proven, you know, offensively that you know, he's one of the more versatile scorers in our league, that he can make shots, he can create offense, but I think that rebounding piece and defensive physicality, I'm sure if you asked him, would be two things that he's going to really try to shore up here come February and March. If you can combine that with his ability offensively to be productive and to make shots, then I think he got a heck of a player. And he's more than capable of doing it. I think that's the best part about it is we're not asking him to do anything that he's not capable of doing. And so I expect him to rise to the challenge. He's a competitive kid and get the most out of these next month and a half.
Wisconsin had 4 starters in double figures on Sunday, including Johnny Davis, who you talked about a little bit towards the top. He finishes with 16 after that flourish. Now that you've seen him up close, what makes him such a difficult guard?
I think he just does a great job of within their offense being aggressive. Stays within what they're trying to do. But he's a triple threat scorer. He can score at the rim, off drives. He can score at the rim off post ups because he's physical, he's big, he's long. He's got a good mid-range game, and then he can obviously score from 3. So anytime you go against a guy that can score from all 3 levels and do it efficiently, he's not a guy that, to get 20 points, it takes 24 shots. I mean, he's a shot maker. He gets to the free throw line. He's an efficient player. And so that's what's pretty impressive. He's got for the young guy, he's got a pretty controlled, mature game to him.
Ben, your team had just 4 assists on 23 made field goals. Is that a number that concerns you at all? Or what does that indicate to you when you see that assist total at a low number like that?
No, for us, I think that's just going to change game to game. I don't think it really dictated necessarily that we had bad ball movement.
Sure.
I think that game, because of matchups, there were a lot of stuff that we tried to go to offensively that were more kind of like one-on-one matchups. So there wasn't a ton of movement, ton of passing all the time. And I think that's just what the game called for. So for this team, I know we're unselfish. We move it. There's going to be some games where we feel like offensively we might have an advantage at a couple spots, and we're just going to look to kind of exploit those.
I'm assuming part of this answer is going to be Eric Curry came back when you talk about the difference in rebounding between Ohio State and Wisconsin. But clearly the Buckeyes were outstanding on the glass at the barn last week. So what did you work on in the interim? What did you try to clean up in that area?
Yeah, no, it was obviously a major point of emphasis. I think our guys, our guys are smart. They know that, if we would have rebounded the ball a little bit better, there's a chance that it got real interesting in that final couple of minutes. And I think they sensed that, without having a great rebounding night, we still played well. And we still were able to get it all the way to a point where it was a manageable game late. And so they know if they shore that up, that we're able to close the gap and we'll be able to pull out a couple of these games. And just talking to them, showing it to them on film, demanding it a little bit more, whether it's walkthrough practice or on film, and then obviously getting Eric back. I don't think it can be understated that, Eric is the anchor. He's kind of the muscle, so to speak. And I think guys really vibe off his energy and his effort. And I thought you saw that, J-Mo stepping up and having 10 rebounds himself. A healthy Eric really makes up for a lot of issues that we have.
You mentioned post-game after Ohio State that it almost didn't seem like who you threw out there. You just weren't able to get the ball. I mean, take us in the coach's box a little bit. When you're out there and you're trying different things and they're just not working, what do you end up turning to?
That's a great question. We had some colorful timeouts a little bit just because, it's one of those things. I think rebounding more than anything it's an effort. It's a tenacity thing. It's a drive. It's a mentality. Obviously, if you're going against size, can that factor in? Of course. If you're going against length, can that factor in? Of course. But we have to have the right mindset of being the aggressor, of just going to attack the ball, right? Like it's not going to be an instruction video on perfect box outs. Sometimes you just got to go get it. And you got to have multiple efforts in the process of getting it. And it's not always going with one hand. Somebody's got to go in there and dictate and grab that thing with 2. So we really talked about our mindset's got to be better in terms of just being more aggressive to going and getting the ball.
Well, effort and heart really hasn't been an issue for your guys throughout the season. Does it feel like the guys know that? It's kind of been a little bit of a theme throughout the season in terms of talking about moral victories, but you guys seem to be right there in a lot of these games. Do the players understand that and feel that as well?
Yeah, they do. I think that's the frustrating piece for them, is that they know they're playing good basketball. They're playing basketball that has put them in positions to win. And now it's just, like I said before, shoring up some of the details to find a way to close games out better. So, no, I think their morale is high. I think their confidence is high. It needs to be. Now we just got to figure out, okay, what is going to take this game to win it? And I think each game is different. And I know we'll be on the path to do that here this next month and a half.
Yeah, and more to come here on the Gophers Coaches Show with Ben Johnson. When we come back, we'll look ahead to Wednesday's matchup against Purdue. Stay with us.
The Gopher Coaches Show.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Gopher Coaches Show. Ben Johnson with us this week. And, Ben, let's look ahead to Wednesday's contest at Williams Arena. Purdue, of course, having a stellar season thus far, ranked 4th in the AP Top 25. What are some of the challenges that await you this coming Wednesday?
There's a lot. That's the scary part. There is a lot. Probably more challenges than not. One of them is obviously I think that's still the #1 offensive efficient team in the country. Explosive on the offensive side of the ball. When you could play through the low post with two, potential NBA players, first team, all Big Ten type guys. And then you have guys on the perimeter that not only can create their own shots, but can make threes is challenging because you got to be able to defend both. But just, going against a team that knows how to play, they know their system, they don't falter, they know who they are. They're an older group as well, so they've been through it. And then at the end of the day, they've got a couple guys that can go get it in Ivy, Edey, and Williams. So, we're going to have to be at our best defensively for sure, have a great awareness, play with physicality, definitely be able to rebound the ball. They can't live from three. And at the same time, we got to make a mess of the paint.
You mentioned Jaden Ivey, one of those of the big three, 17 points a game to lead the Boilermakers. What stands out about him? What's important in terms of trying to contain him? Because you're probably not going to stop him. You said that about Johnny Davis. You're not going to completely shut him out. So containing Ivey, what's important there? Yeah,
I think the first thing is you got to make sure in transition you don't let him go wild. He's so electric. He reminds me of like the old school Latrell Sprewell. He just got that live body, and not only can he score in transition, but I think he does a really good job finding guys in transition. He's very unselfish. Big time player, as you know, from last game, hit the big three to win it versus Ohio State, so he's not scared of the moment. I think just like we did with Davis, it's going to be really hard to hold those guys scoreless. You just want to make their catches tough and force them to take tough contested 2s and 3s. Jaden can't live at the rim. We've got to have a wall in the paint. We got to force, whether it's contested 3s or those tough 2s that are away from the rim. Because once he gets to that rim, he's so athletic and explosive, he makes those. So it'll definitely be a challenge. But again, we had a challenge last week. It seems like we have a challenge each and every game with whether it's a perimeter or post. And so we got to rise up to that challenge.
Trevion Williams leads Purdue in rebounding with over 8.5 a game. You mentioned Zach Edey. He averages over 7 a contest. We talked about rebounding in the previous segment. How much of an emphasis will it be in a game against guys like this? I know we got over a 7-footer on the floor. That's certainly going to make it challenging for anybody.
No, without question. You got that unique size. In a team like Purdue, it's especially important because you want to limit them to one and done. If they get second chance opportunities, they're too good offensively. They're going to capitalize on those. So we got to eliminate and get them to one and done. And hopefully that one, results in a miss and be able to get out in transition. I think that's one thing that, especially with Edey on the floor, being able to break a little bit, when we have the opportunity, but rebounding the ball from here on out, guys, as you know, is parallel. I mean, you gotta have it. So it won't change starting tomorrow. And we got to make sure we do a really good job 1 through 5. It's not just one guy. It's 1 through 5 doing their part to help rebound the ball and limit second chance opportunities.
Well, and fans of the Big Ten will certainly recognize rebounding is kind of a tentpole for Purdue's program as well. Matt Painter, it's weird, Ben, he's an elder statesman now in the Big Ten Conference, which is crazy because he's such a young guy, but he's been there a long time, and I know certainly you've taken a lot from how he's built his version of the Purdue program and tried to put it into yours.
Yeah, no, I think he's done a great job of continuing, Purdue tradition of winning basketball. Their program doesn't get a lot of national attention as it probably should. when you look at the numbers and how many not only pros but conference championships they've won, NCAA tournament appearances, I mean, it's up there with the best of the best. And that's what I think everybody strives to do. And that's what we want to strive to do. We want to be consistent in our work and sustain excellence. And, they've done a good job of recruiting that to a style and a system that's conducive to winning. They've done a good job being a team that, prides themselves on not only being fun offensively, but also being able to guard and being sound and being tough defensively. So I think there's a lot we can take from how they do it and how they're built and kind of their blueprint. And I think that also translates to long-term success and winning.
Ben, we've kind of heard the cliche, not just at the collegiate level and the professional level as well. You want to be a team that's hard to play against, especially at home. You guys have certainly been that. You storm back, almost knock off Iowa. You have a ruckus crowd against Ohio State. How has the home atmosphere treated you guys so far, and from your perspective as your first year on the sideline at Williams Arena?
Yeah, our crowd's been great. They really energize us. They fuel us. They keep our guys juiced. Our student section, especially the last couple of games, has been off the charts. Really appreciate everybody that comes out to these games. I know we've got to do our job, and we've got to have a good product. We got to play the right way, and we got to give effort in order for people to come out and support. But the people that have come, trust me, we felt it. Our players have. It means a ton to us. When Williams Arena is packed and it's loud and it's rocking, it's an advantage for us. It's an advantage for Gopher basketball. And, we got to continue to work to develop our fan base and grow it. And, in time, make it a place where nobody wants to come here to win. And when you do come here, it's almost impossible to get a win. So we're building towards that every single day. But we definitely appreciate everybody that's come out so far this year. It's definitely gone noticed, and it's made a difference.
And I'm sure it'll be another ruckus crowd at Williams Arena on Wednesday night against Purdue. All right, stick around. More to come here on the Gopher Coaches Show. When we come back, we'll take a look ahead at what's to come for Minnesota beyond Purdue. That's next.
The Gopher Coaches Show.
Welcome back to the Gopher Coaches Show. Ben Johnson with us. And Ben, you've got 11 games left in the regular season, all against Big Ten opponents. What does progress look like for you from now until the end of the regular season?
Just continue to get better on a daily basis. I think if you do that, wins will come. If we can focus on the process, because especially in the beginning stages when you're really trying to build something, you can't skip steps. You got to be process driven and process oriented every single day. So that's all we're trying to do. And I think if you do that and you continue to develop kind of those daily habits, that's going to turn out in your favor, and you're going to get better individually, and you'll get better as a team. And we want to be playing our best basketball, February, March, and that's going to be our goal, is every day to get better so that we are playing our best basketball as we approach the end of this Big Ten's conference season.
When you were down a couple of players last week, specifically against Rutgers, you needed some players to step up. Sean Sutherland, who's played a little bit for you this year, actually more than a little bit, was one of your main guys. He certainly did. But then Trayton Thompson, who'd played like 25 minutes up until the Rutgers game, had to step in and play all 40. So speaking of process, tell us about theirs a little bit, maybe specifically even Trayton, from a kid coming in, trying to find his way, to a guy who turned into a big contributor for you there.
Yeah, I think exactly that, finding his way. And, it's hard as a true freshman, especially a big. It is a process, and you got to be able to trust that process, because there's a physicality piece, there's a skill piece that comes with it, and that just takes time. And I think what Trayton's been able to do is he's been able to learn from our older guys, which is huge. He's gone up against Eric every day in practice. He's gone up against CD. He's gone up against J-Mo. Those guys have gotten better. Those guys have taught him the type of work that it takes to get playing time, right? You don't want a guy to go in there and not be ready. I think that's the worst thing you can do, not only for confidence for him, but for your team. You want a guy to be thrown in there and be able to produce. You want him to be able to have confidence as a player to get some stuff done. And I think Trey's done that. He's grown. He's embraced the work, which is sometimes hard when you're not playing. He's done extra work. He's never pouted. He's got a great attitude, and I think all that attributed to when his number was called, he was able to rise up to the challenge and produce. So, we'll continue to push him in practice. He'll continue to push himself, and I know the minutes that he gets from here on out, he's going to be prepared for and ready for it, and he's going to take them and run with them.
You can correct me on the timeline if I'm wrong, Ben, but I believe you were a college basketball player when Tom Brady won his first Super Bowl for the New England Patriots. A lot of water under our respective bridges there, because I was a college student as well back then. What do we take from his legacy now that he's officially announced his retirement? What do we learn from him in this basically 2 decades of a heck of a career?
It's funny you asked that, because I was thinking about that today, and to me, it's more learning for myself and for this generation to kind of appreciate greatness.
Yep.
I think we spend so much time nitpicking at athletes or people in general, especially the great ones, and you get caught up in that more than you get caught up in watching what they do, whether it's on the court, on the field, in a pool, on a golf course, whatever it might be. To appreciate their greatness, because they're the reasons why we turn on TV. Tom Brady's the reason why you watch on Sundays, because you never know what he's going to do. Like, you never know if he's going to win another championship and set a record. You never know if he's going to, bring a team back. And so I think it's just enjoying the greatness of these athletes before they're gone.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Well said. And congratulations. Hey, Tom, if you're watching the show, congratulations on a stellar career. Our thanks to Ben Johnson. A reminder, the Gophers take on Purdue this Wednesday at Williams Arena. We will see you next week for the Gopher Coaches Show.